How do you create content that actually stands out in 2026? How do you stand out as a personal brand? This is exactly what we're going to dissect in this episode. I'm going to break down 5 different strategies that you can implement into your content strategy to create a standout brand. Now let's have a quick reality check and what's been going on in the content world in 2025. AI has absolutely taken over everything. There are AI avatars, there are AI generated captions, there's templates. So the barrier to entry the content creation world has gone to the absolute bare minimum. Not only that, you're getting slammed with all sorts of possible content from all the angles. Your Instagram feeds, the Instagram Reels, the carousels, LinkedIn, Threads, even Pinterest, even though it's not as popular anymore, but it's still bringing in a lot of results. There's email, there's Substack, YouTube, podcasts, every other person starting podcasts this year. So it's not necessarily about the visibility, it's more about indistinguishability. Can you build a brand and can you create content that doesn't look like anybody else? And I truly believe that if you, for the last couple of years, have not invested in building a personal brand that cannot be copied, then I truly believe that you're missing out. And it's better to start now than later to build a brand that does not look like anybody else, that does not look like AI. Because the real problem, you can scroll through thousands of posts every single day on social media, and majority of them, 99% of them, look just like anybody could have written that. Now, I'll give you an example. The way I've always been writing content for the past 10 years of being in business, being on social media, especially writing a lot of long-form content, including blogs, including Facebook posts. That's always been my bread and butter, building my personal brand on Facebook. And multiple times over the years, people have told me, I can hear your accent through reading that post. It's incredible. Now, I still aim to maintain that bit in my content. I'm not aiming to write perfectly grammatically correct posts. I'm not trying to have the perfect grammar. In fact, dare I mention the em dashes, which I really hope everybody leaves them alone in 2026, because that is actually proper grammar. Now, here's the reason why I don't personally use them is because I've never used them in my content. I do know grammar to a really decent level, considering that English is my second language, but it would feel really unnatural for me to all of a sudden start using them. You know what I mean? So if you forever used em dashes because maybe you have writing experience, maybe you're an author, maybe you are a proofreader, ghostwriter, maybe you have that sort of experience, but don't just all of a sudden add it into your content, because that's what would make it really obvious that you're using AI. And again, whether you do use AI or not, honestly, I don't care. Do whatever works best for you. Do whatever you can manage. If you only have 2 hours a day to dedicate to your business and AI really helps you show up, by all means go for it. But make sure you still add more of your personality and more of your soul into every single piece of content you create, especially video. Now, here's a couple of more problems that I see in the content creation world and why some of the content really feels the same. And it's not just AI. Number one reason why content feels the same is that over-reliance on templates, prompts, trends, and that over-recycled content that every single person in their niche has posted. Number two is consuming more content than actually creating it. Now, there's one thing that I can tell you for 2026, for the content marketing specifically, it's not necessarily about the volume that you're going to pump out. You don't have to be posting 3 videos a day, 5 videos a day, and try to do what Hormozy is doing or what the big brands who actually have content teams are doing. Do what's manageable for you. I'm forever going to stand by that advice. However, overthinking is going to have to die in 2026, because while you're stalling on your content, while you're overthinking what to post, somebody else is already doing it imperfectly and they are getting visible, they are getting paid. Another reason why content feels the same is borrowing someone else's identity over your own embodied opinions. Here's what I mean by that. The content creators who are going to thrive in 2026 are going to be the ones who share a lot of their points of view, whether it is on the state of the industry, the state of your niche, the state of the economy, the state of the investing, anything that's relevant to your expertise and to what you deal with day to day, your point of view is going to be a lot more valuable because everything else people can get on ChatGPT. And the other thing that I see that makes every single piece of content, or almost every single piece of content, look and feel the same is simply because a lot of that content is being created to perform rather than to position your expertise. Let me tell you this, I've seen multiple creators talk about it. I've seen several coaches specifically on Instagram talk about the fact that yes, you can have a viral video, but the video that gives you 300 views, 9 times out of 10 is going to lead to a lot more high ticket clients. And I see it over and over again with tons of coaches and service providers. Do not feel ashamed that, oh my God, my video only got 200 views. What a shame. That's fine. It's still reaching who it needs to be reaching. And I'm forever preaching that, not that I have to be preaching here, but your content has to also be focused on the lurkers. Do not ever disregard the people who are not liking anything. They're not engaging at all. In fact, a lot of my clients over the years have not necessarily engaged with my content. After they became clients, yeah, they started engaging more. They leave more comments, they react to stories. But over the years, they just wanted to see that I'm reliable, that I'm not going anywhere. People want to have that confidence in you because a lot of coaches and a lot of people who join the business lately are very flaky. So you want to position yourself as somebody trustworthy. Now, let's dive into the 5 strategies that are going to make your content stand out in 2026. I'm going to be breaking down my lethal content strategy throughout this episode, so make sure you listen all the way until the end, because this one is juicy. Number 1 strategy is, like I mentioned earlier, create your content around your point of view. And I call it transformational content. You have to share your clear beliefs about whatever it is that you have going on in your business, whether it's, the way to lose weight. You believe that it's the way for women in their 40s, for example. Your opinions are going to be a lot more valuable, especially when they are backed by results, when they are backed by experience, whether it is, you losing 50 pounds in the last 6 months, whether it is reaching 10,000 people with your videos, whatever the case may be, your opinions are going to matter because I don't go to AI to help me with a mindset. Personally, I go to my coach because I know she can really contribute her experiences with the things that I'm struggling with in any kind of area of my business. Here's a couple of examples specifically that you can implement in your content. You could start your video or carousel with something that you disagree with. I disagree with XYZ method. Here's why I believe it's not going to work in 2026. For example, the other day I saw a post that went something like this: you should stop using Pinterest, you should use these other stock photography apps in 2026. Something like that. Another little prompt that you can use to create a video could be something like, here's why no one tells you about XYZ topic. And another one, this works, blah, 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 but only if you do this. So this could be guest podcasting works, but only if you appear on the right shows. And then you could elaborate. Now, I teach this content strategy in a lot more detail in the Content Confidential, my signature program. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description, in the show notes, and you can enroll. Strategy number 2, I have always been a huge fan of it. It stopped working for a while, and I do believe that it's now coming back because of all the AI disruption, which is live video. Any sort of live streaming, you being on camera like this, raw, unedited. It could be Facebook Lives, it could be YouTube Lives, it could be Twitch if you're a gamer. I feel like gamers are still doing quite well because of all the live streaming and because people know that they are real humans. And I'm personally subscribed to maybe 1 or 2 live streamers on YouTube. And every time I play like some games on my phone, I typically do watch some of them and how they, reach certain levels in the specific game, like I play a zombie game. Now, this type of content is what's going to allow you to position yourself as a leader. Because live video is raw, unedited. People know that it is actually you. Yes, you can replace yourself by AI, but it's not going to feel the same. People want to see that there is actually a face behind your brand. And my personal belief is also that a lot of these faceless accounts and faceless videos are most likely going to be obsolete because we need human connection. In the world of AI, we need actual people to talk to. Also, live video proves that you're a master at your craft. There's no hiding. You're there. You can do live Q&As, you can do predictions, you can host webinars, like literally be live on a webinar. Not one of those where people register, choose one of the 3 times in the next 3 days, and then it's just a pre-recorded evergreen webinar. Pretty sure those still work, but you want to put your face out there. And if you promise to people, hey, this is a live video, please show up live. Yes, we're all busy. Yes, we all want to automate as many things of our business as possible. You can use AI in multiple different ways in your business without compromising your brand personality, without compromising the trust either, because it's very hard to build trust. It takes time and effort and energy, but it's very easy to break that trust. And I've seen a lot of really big brands over the years lose trust, lose hundreds of thousands of followers just because of very deceptive marketing tactics that they've used. So don't be one of them. Now, here's what I will mention though about the live streaming for your business. Do not make it at the top of your funnel. It doesn't have to be the traffic bringer. It's just to nurture your existing community. I've never personally used live stream as the top of my funnel content. It's always been in the middle. So it's not necessarily to attract new audience, it's to nurture your existing community and then bring them closer to them being your client. So choose your platform, choose how often you're going to be going live. I used to go live every single day from Monday to Friday on Facebook. That was back in 2016. I can't believe it's been nearly 10 years ago at this point. And pick a schedule, whether it's going to be weekly, whether you're going to go live twice a week, promote it ahead of time if you will. If you are on YouTube, go live on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, go live on Facebook. Instagram, choose your platform. If you are even on Substack, I do believe that they have the live stream feature as well. LinkedIn used to have one. I'm not sure if they have it right now. Actually, I haven't been a very active LinkedIn user in that sense, but choose the platform where majority of your community is hanging out and go live there and be consistent. Strategy number 3 is create signature patterns that are easily recognizable. Now, this strategy falls under 2 categories of my lethal content strategy. Number 1, it could be the lifestyle content, and number 2, it could be the aspirational content. What I see happening with a lot of creators is they create a lot of random content and then they call it a content strategy. Now, you have to be very clear about what you're creating. You have to have some repeatable patterns, repeatable topics that you're going to be always talking about through your content strategy. It shouldn't just be random. If you're multi-passionate, even then, you're still going to have a couple of content buckets where your specific topics are going to fall under. So when you have that signature pattern, the signature topics, the signature series, even this is something I talked about in episode number 11 or 10, I believe. So definitely check that out, how to create a bingeable signature series, because a recurring series is going to remind people of who you are. It's going to position yourself as an authority, build that trust, and they're also going to remember you. Ooh, you're that girl with XYZ series. And your signature series is also going to drive the rest of your content strategy. For example, recently I did a VIP day with a client and we built out her signature series. And the feedback that I got was incredible. She was not inspired to create content for Instagram. She was kind of in that, rut of not even knowing what to post, even though she is an expert at what she does. She's worked with great clients, but something was still missing in her content strategy. And then working through digging out her expertise and repositioning that as a signature series has really inspired her to start creating content again, made it easier to show up on video. So I highly recommend for you to find that signature series. I do have a checklist that walks you through exactly how to put it together. So check the show notes for that. And if you want any of my personalized help to creating your signature series, then DM me on Instagram. And I want you to really remember this one thing. People don't just follow you for the information. They follow you for the way that you see and do things. They follow you essentially for your brain and how you do things differently than everybody else. I recently talked to a client and I asked her, I was like, why are you following me out of all people? What made you want to work with me? Because I'm genuinely curious. I ask all of my clients, I'm like, what was it that you saw? And it's usually the messaging, the positioning, the way the brain works, the confidence, how you speak about your work, how you deliver the programs. It's always a mixture of different things. But essentially, it comes down to one thing: it's how you view your work and how you do things differently. Which leads me to strategy number 4, which is show me your thinking, not just the outcome. And this falls under the educational content in my lethal content strategy framework. Now, in this specific type of content that you're going to be creating, you essentially share the thought process of your brain, how you think when you are doing certain things in your business. Now, I'm going to use myself as an example because it's so easy. So, one way that I'm shifting my content just slightly, it's not anything major, is showing a little bit more of my own personality. For example, recently I started writing a post about the type A things that I do in my business that would drive type B absolutely mad. Now, this is not necessarily about me creating a signature series, building a content strategy for a client. This is about my own thought process and what I do, like the little things that I do in my business. Could be about the way I record my podcast, could be about the way that I take notes on the calls, how organized I am, how I organize my desk, how I organize my phone, how I stay on top of my follow-ups, how I stay on top of my B-roll content, how I stay on top of my YouTube videos and editing, and just the little things that I do in my business that may look a little bit crazy for type B personality, but anybody who is type A like myself could truly relate. And the people who don't know how I work and how I operate, they would be like, oh, she's really organized. This is something that I need in my business. And over the years, literally, I've had clients tell me it's a breath of fresh air working with you, because I know that you're going to help me keep all of my ducks in a row. Remember, the more you show your thinking and your thought process and how your brain operates, the harder it's going to be to replace you. And number 5, I'm going to briefly break down the lethal content strategy and how you can apply it to your business. So L stands for leader positioning. Show people how you lead, show people how you show up in your business, show people how your brain thinks. Letter E stands for educational. It could be tutorials, it could be you teaching a specific subject in depth, it could be a video walking people from A to Z, it could be a signature series where you show a specific process. T is transformational, something that I've shared earlier. So it could be belief shifting. It could be something that people need to believe in order to hit XYZ goal. It could also be your spicy opinions, anything controversial, anything people would want to throw their computer out the window after reading. H is the hype content. So that's when you actually promote your offers. It could be through your live streams. It could be through your email. It could be through even social media posts, through your stories as well, through a mini chat bot. A is aspirational, so that could be your stories. Storytelling is the one thing that AI truly cannot replicate because it will never replicate your lived experiences. And you're also able to reflect who your audience wants to become through that type of content. And last but certainly not least is the lifestyle. That's where you let people see behind the scenes. That's where you let people see your different interests. That's where you let people see, who you are behind the business, because again, you can run the business, but you still want to show people that you're a real human, because they're always going to buy from you because of you rather than the Stripe screenshots or the money wins or this and that. Now, here's what I want you to leave with after this episode. Saturation doesn't kill originality. Indistinction does. So if there's one thing that you're going to do in 2026, work on your messaging, position yourself in your most unique language with the quirky phrases that you're using, with bad grammar if that's the typical of what you're doing. Even if people are going to judge you, stay you, because your personality is exactly why people are going to work with you. It's always going to be you plus real marketing and mixed together. That's what's going to work in 2026.